So, hello everyone, and it looks like the mic is on. We got some people here. So, if you could write down your human design type if you know it, and if you don't, always go to the information box to get your free chart, and you can let your friends know too if they're new to human design. So, hello everyone. Whoops. So I just wanted to jump on here because I haven't been here, I guess, last Monday, right? Yeah, it was last Monday for the full moon. Been working a lot and some on another project, but I wanted to come on and just talk about this week's transits and really interesting. So the first thing I want to start off with is so put your human design type in your astrology information too if you want to, so people can know who you are, and especially if you're similar you can connect, so it's a place to connect to in the chat, in the comment box too. So just a reminder that the Earth's magnetic field is shifting. There we go, right there. So the Earth's magnetic field is shifting. So what does this mean? You hear about the shifting of the poles. Uh, some people in the past, teachers, have prophesized that, the shifting of the poles, right? Because of the magnetic field that's changing of the Earth. So the magnetic field is really the Earth's aura, and it is shifting, right? The ancients warned us about this time through solar flare activity and just moving through, coming closer and closer to our central sun. That's why we're seeing so much change. We're coming back to our original nature as a humanity in terms of our evolution. So more into the light, right? Moving from the age of darkness, the Kali Yuga, into the Sat Yuga, the age of truth, where truth rules. In the age of darkness is really when the ego rules. So we're in the middle of that. Well, not in the middle, I mean, in terms of measurement, but we're definitely been in this dark age, at least since this lifetime. Probably many of our lifetimes have spent in the Kali Yuga. But anyway, the Earth's magnetic field is shifting. So what does this mean? Well, the electromagnetic field of the Earth, it keeps our memories intact. So it keeps our memories. Well, what do you mean our memories? Well, our ancestral memories. All of our ancestral memories, our memories of our past lives, our memories of being in the animal kingdom before we even got to human, being in the plant kingdom. We've done it all. So the yogis say it's millions and millions of lifetimes to get to the point that we're at right now, on the verge of awakening, right? So all those memories are inside of us. We can tap into them at any moment. Well, and especially I just want to talk about our ancestral memories. So our ancestral memories are releasing because this magnetic field is weakening. So the memories can start to release from the unconscious of humanity, and then they get projected out into the external world, and then we see them manifest it. That's why it seems like world events are echoes from the past. We're seeing our ancestral memories playing out so that we can make different choices than our ancestors made, right? So you can see if we're kept in the state of amnesia, which means in the ignorance of the ego, only thinking that we're these five senses, in the brain, in our head, in our body, in our mind, and that's it, right? So this keeps us in this frequency of ignorance. So it's the darkness of the ego, right? It's the ignorance that we rely on our ego only. So this really applies to this week's transit, right? So one of the things that's releasing here that I want to focus on and that I'm seeing out in the world is the mother wound. This is an ancient wound that's been passed down from our ancestor, from ancestor to ancestor to ancestor to ancestor. And it's a deep wound that is calling for our attention. It's calling for our attention, and it's calling, meaning it's being called to come into the light of our awareness. so that we can see it and we can feel it and we can stop it from continuing on. Okay. So just a reminder, well, this is my first announcement of this, is I'm hosting another online retreat, which the last two have been incredible. It's setting the conditions for a mutation to happen. So what I do is I work with the energy of that time, because right now time is different. You may have noticed that already with Pluto moving into Aquarius. Pluto and Capricorn, Saturn rules time. And now it's completely shifting and changing. And so it's about being in the now present moment. We have to get used to this operating completely different at a time. We're at a time and we're into the present now moment. So I can look at the transits that are ahead according to human design and astrology. In February 23rd, 24th, 25th, there's a lot of support, and all the energy is pointing towards this release and transmutation of the mother wound. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I've listed, I actually just finished with, the copy. I'm going to put some more things too in the link below, link in the information box about healing the mother wound online retreat. But I put all the transits that are happening so that you can see, like, oh my God, we're totally being supported, right? So here are some symptoms. I won't go through all of them, but this is on the website. But especially, you know that you are experiencing a mother wound if you feel anxiety, fear, or restlessness, insecurity, waiting for the worst case scenario to happen, no trust in relationships, just not feeling safe or having a sense of belonging, critical, low self-esteem, tick, 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 tick. If you have these, then there's a mother wound that wants to come up to be healed. So you may or may not be aware of it. Okay, so check out the website and look at look at that. And if you're MG or G, I'm responding yes, because I'm inviting you to this online retreat. Projectors, if this feels true for you, right? So check in with your strategy and authority for that. So I'll be announcing this till the day it happens, because I feel like we really, really need to look at this, right? Healing the mother wound. Okay, so let's go into this week. Okay. So you can see here's the sun. So this is the human design transit chart if you're not familiar with this, and your natal chart. And just stick around with my channel. There's so much to learn about human design, and it's really about this time that we're in now. And Pluto's in Aquarius now. And right, Uranus is one of the rulers of Aquarius, the modern ruler of Aquarius. And human design is very Uranian, right? Like unexpected, really out there, right? Just not your typical, Capricorn, same old from the past. And this is a Uranian system. Even the founder of human design said this. This is the Uranian system. And projectors, you're a Uranian being anyway, because projectors didn't even exist prior to 1781. 1781 was the discovery of Uranus. So you're a little bit different and odd, right? So this is about embracing, right? Pluto and Aquarius, embracing our oddness, our quirkiness, embracing our uniqueness. That's another thing that Uranus is about, liberating us from our conditioning. So this is the year to do it, 2024. Okay, so let's talk about this 19 though. There's the sun. So remember that 70% of the neutrinos, this is a neutrino imprint, that chart, 70% come from the sun. So we're getting bombarded by the 19. It's activating the 19. Okay. And this is right here. Here we go. There's the 19. So it's coming off the root. So there's no definition this week, right? You can see that, no colored in. The 19 is Aquarius. It's very Aquarian. And what's interesting about the 19 is being mutated. That means it's being scrubbed from humanity. This whole channel, this is the channel of synthesis. It's very, very tribal. Okay. And it's being scrubbed, right? So that this is part of the solar plexus mutation that's happening in 2027. Tribal consciousness is leaving the planet because we've outgrown it, right? And we're moving more into collective and individual, right? Consciousness. Those will be the two left. So it's really important. The shadow of Aquarius is we're all NPCs, right? We're all thinking alike. We're just completely disconnected from our hearts. We're programmed to act and behave in certain ways. It's groupthink, right? It's the group ego. But the higher frequency of Aquarius is that you're your own unique self, right? You're an empowered self-sovereign being, and that's where you want to be, right? For this year. So let's talk about this 19 all week long. Okay, so it's a shadow of codependence right here. And so codependence, let's talk about that. So codependency, here are some symptoms of this. You probably know this is a very popular term now in mainstream culture. It's codependency. Well, you're unable to love, right? You're unable to love. And it comes with conditions. This is about love. This is right. Our conditioning is what we received as soon as we got out of the womb, is that we became conditioned, right? Just as our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents this has been our conditioning. So this is like the brainwashing we received. So it's just completely, imagine that you're a computer, right? You as a human, you're a computer and you've been completely coded and everything, right? That's conditioning. It's a very, very powerful field. That's why it's so rare to see somebody really living as their unique, authentic self. It's more it's not the rule, right? It's the exception more than the rule. So this is our conditioning. We've been conditioned to be codependent, and this is coming to an end, right? It has to come to an end. So what we've been conditioned to think is that codependency equals love. And I'm going to explain this. Codependency equals love. So codependency is the shadow, right? And shadows all come with this ego. They work together. So there's Worm Tongue from Lord of the Rings. I've just put a form to the ego. It's the voice in the head that you believe is you, and you've identified with it. Most people are identified with their ego. Whatever's coming out of their mouth is like whatever's this ego is telling them to say, basically, right? Over identified with the mind. You believe that it's you, right? These thoughts in your head are you. So the shadow of codependency, they can't love. Why? Well, the ego can't love, not real love, right? The love according to the ego is tit for tat. You do this for me, I do that for you. It's very tribal, right? Codependency, it's tribal. It's a tribal gate, the 19, right? So it's tit for tat. I do this for you, you do this for me, right? This is the old marriage, the old traditional marriages, right? It's like the division of labor, and you take out the garbage and I do the cooking. So can't love because ego can't live in the frequency of true love. It can't swim there, right? It's too toxic. The ego is too toxic. And don't tell me about healthy ego and unhealthy ego. Right away, ego is not your friend, it's your enemy. And the only one in your head that's saying, oh, it's good to have a healthy ego and they can work with you and blah, blah, blah. That's more ego, right? Fooling you and tricking you. No matter how sattvic your ego gets, remember I talk about this, the sattvic ego is the purest form of ego that's like on board with watching this channel or striving and doing your inner child work and doing your shadow work, even that ego has to disappear because it's not that, and that isn't even you, right? So this ego can't swim in the frequency of love, which is who you truly are. The highest frequency of love. That's true love, where it's a force, doesn't come with conditions. It's unconditional. Right? So there's the conditions, right? Codependency, it comes with conditions, it comes with rules, it comes with fears. Maybe they're unspoken rules, right? Possessive, it's very possessive codependency. And then it comes with roles, playing a certain role in your relationship. There's no authenticity there, right? There's no room for spontaneity or creativity or growth or evolution because one could be feel threatened, right? In terms of codependency, one is threatened if the other moves forward, right? So you play these roles which are false, right? That's not truly who you are. Happiness with codependency, happiness depends on the outer. I'm only happy if my partner's happy, right? Or my child, whatever you have this codependent relationship with, it's an attachment, right? It's an attachment, this 19. So we've been conditioned by like rom-com, romantic comedy movies, songs. This is all the propaganda of what love is, right? And they teach and condition us that love is, right? Love is codependent. So basically, we're married to the ego. That's who you're really married in a codependent relationship. This isn't if you're alone. You could be married to someone in a partnership, but they're married to their ego too, and you're married to your ego, and you're pretending that it's true love, right? And it's false. It's not true. So, what you want to do is and there's no power here. There's no power here. So, one thing rom-com does that I notice when I watch these movies sometimes is they teach you to sacrifice and right there's a higher frequency of that word sacrifice compared to the lower frequency sacrifice, and this is giving up your authenticity for another person, right, and expecting them to give up their authenticity for you, right? So this is different than, like your partner saying, I don't want you to go to this online retreat. I don't want you to go to this workshop. I don't want you to follow your dreams, right? And then the propaganda is like, oh, I give up on my dreams, and that means I really love that person, right? This is the BS that you have to start to let go of. Versus, let's say, like a good sacrifice that's coming from love, that's really, really coming from the highest frequency of love, is you really want to do something. You want to hang out with your friends, right? I really want to hang out with my friends, and we have this shared hobby, but my partner is not feeling well at all, right? They need me to bring them water and make sure that they're hydrated, make sure that they're fed and they're okay, like they can't take care of themselves physically. Well, that would be love, wouldn't it? It's coming from a higher frequency, right? I'm sacrificing this thing that I would really enjoy, but it's not my identity. It's not my authenticity, right? It's not who I am. But I'm going to give this up, this thing that I enjoy, that I take pleasure in, and then I'm going to take care of my partner, right? And it's not a tit for tat. It's like, oh, well, they're going to do the same for me. It's coming from a place of selfless love, right? So selfless love is there's no ego. It's like egoless love, right? So it's coming from your soul. That impulse is coming from your soul. The other one is coming from a fear. I fear that they'll reject me. I fear that they'll abandon me if I really step forward on what I really want to do. That's my soul purpose, right? It's part of my soul purpose. So if it's real love, then like our whole relationship dynamics are shifting and changing for this 2027 solar plexus mutation. If it's real love, then you're actually encouraging that other person to be their authentic self and vice versa. And if that means even going right to the end, if that means that we have to separate, right? That is true love. It's like, no, I want that person to be their authentic self. I want that other person to do their higher purpose. And if that means not being with me, it's going to be sad. I'll feel the grief, but ultimately I know that's correct and true. I'm not going to hold back this person, right? And vice versa. So it's about letting go of this attachments. Now we're in this frequency right now with 19. And with the 19, it comes the 1949 right up here is the channel of synthesis, this 1949. So this is how we come together. These are the traditional marriage, right? Marriage. This is the 1949. So this is all changing and shifting. And a lot of people stay in marriages that aren't good for them because they worry about what other people think of them and what will they think, and they make up a lot of excuses why to stay together, and really it's about fearing of doing your spiritual journey, right? And this is tribal. It's very tribal. So the 49 is all about rejection. So this fear of rejection too, and this energy. So this is, so there's no power here. And so let's go to the other side. This bar is in the way, just a sec. Right? So spirituality, let's go to the spiritual perspective. Well, let's talk about codependency from the spiritual perspective is it's putting the divine outside of you. Okay, so that's ultimately what codependency is. It's believing that this another person is a higher frequency than you, right? That they know better than you, that their voice is more important than yours, that their opinion is more important than yours. The way that you should be living, you believe them more than your own self, like your higher self. So it goes back to the divine. If you want to transmute codependency, let's go to the touchdown. And the touchdown, the root of all of this is the belief that the divine is outside of me, right? Outside of me. That this God, religion has taught this, that God is this mental concept with a lot of rules and regulations. We have a codependent relationship with the divine, right? If you're in a religion, you have a codependent relationship with the divine. And now the Pluto and Aquarius coming in 2027 is we need our own direct experience with the divine, right? So codependency is the divine is outside of me. It's outside of me. My authority, I give all my authority over to something outside of me because it's a higher frequency than me. It's a hierarchy. They're better than me. So we play this out in our relationships. And it keeps us out of our power, right? So what we do, it's interesting here with the 33. So these are programming partners. They're twins. They always come together, the 19 and the 33. And the 33 is here off the throat. And the 33 is the shadow of forgetting. We've forgotten who we truly are. We've forgotten our power. We've forgotten that the divine is inside each one of us, right? When we're in codependency, we forget. We forget. So that's a big theme, right? That's a theme. We forget our power. So this is a time to really look at your attachments, right? Look at your attachments. Who am I giving my power over to? Now, this doesn't mean, right? Okay, there's people, there's beings that are more evolved, right? Like let's look at it like this from a spiritual perspective. Yes, there are beings that are more spiritually evolved than others. It just means they're down the path a little bit further than you, or they've come into this lifetime like highly evolved. This means that, but all of us have come from the same source, right? So some are more aware of that source than others, right? So there's an equality. Aquarius is about equality. So that's where we're equal. But then on another level, Some are more evolved than others. So does that mean that person is better than you? You know, if you look at a child, you know, you're an adult, a cyclist, you've been cycling for years and years and years. There's a little 3 or 4 year old learning to ride a bike and they're falling over and they're learning. You don't judge them, right? Or say, "Oh, I'm so much better than them." It's just the growth and evolution is more expressed in some than others, right? So with this, and this is how we can help one another. The ones that are more evolved can help the other ones to come to the path, and vice versa. Aquarius is there's no higher or lower, right? But there's the difference. There's the difference. Okay. And what else here? Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention too. That's why I threw the astrology chart up here. This is like recent. It's like about 15 minutes ago. This north node in Aries is coming closer and closer. So it's going to be during this retreat. That's another reason why this energy's serving the consciousness of this retreat. This is your deepest wounding, right? This is your deepest wounding, Chiron and the North Node. So it's really a doorway into your destiny, into your soul purpose. And the only way into that door is to face your deepest, deepest wound. So it depends on where it is in your chart, but globally, right? Globally, it's here. It's the 51. This is right. The 51 comes off the willpower center. So it's using your willpower to jump in to this 25. And the other side of the 51 is 25. And this is universal love. It's the city is universal love and acceptance of yourself. And right. So this totally fits in with the mother wound too. It's right. It's learning to mother yourself and nurture yourself and give to yourself what wasn't given to you as a child so that you're not dragging the past, right, into this new age. This is a portal. The 51 is a portal, but it comes with shocks and it comes with changes, right? And shock is a huge theme in 2024. We're going to face a lot of shocks collectively and individually, but they're all providing portals for you. And the portal means I go through the portal, I do the work, I do the inner work, and I continually evolving and growing. So codependency, you can't be worried about other people or trying to carry them into the portal with you. There's only room for you in the portal, right? So that's the trust. I have trust and faith in the divine. Then I move through the portal. My partner is there with me, right? They're doing their own inner work, right? You can't do that work for them, right? Or any loved one. So that's the shock. Only you can fit through that portal. Um, Okay. So you want to be married to the soul, and that's the self-reliance, right? That's a big theme. I'm relying on myself. Even if that maybe you know somebody in your life that's very evolved spiritually, right? Even then, you're self-reliant. You're listening to that higher being and you're saying, I need to meditate on this and make sure that it's true for me. Is it true? Is it aligned with my truth or not? And that's when you can use your strategy and authority, right? Can use that because that's something you can count on. Human design has given you that tool, right, for these times to make your own self-empowered decisions. Okay, so let's do, I want to get this up too. Yeah, okay. I think I went over all of these. Okay, so let me see if there's any comments here or questions. I love that the same people are here. Phantom in Massachusetts, Satnam, Beth, Shakti Rising, Peg, Satnam, from Joyzy. Yeah, Jan, isn't that true, eh? It does feel like time doesn't exist anymore. It's weird. This is this new consciousness, this new energy on the planet that we have to start to embrace. And it's just about coming into the present moment. Yeah. And Hermes, 2-4 MG. Oh, Natasha, that's a really good point. Natasha says, I think I'm one side a codependent relationship. I feel self-aware affect him. Okay. So the thing you need to remember is it takes two to slam dance. It takes two to slam dance. So with shadow work, there's not a me and you, right? There's not a me and you, there's an us. So with codependency, right? It's codependency. Well, there needs to be two in this dynamic. And what it is the same frequency, but it has different expressions. So it's one, same frequency, two sides, but the same coin, right? So one can be the needy, expressing the needy, clingy, right? Needy, clingy. We hear this, I want to spend more time with you, right? I want to spend more time with you. I'm just using like a popular example, right? So there's that version, right? One doesn't feel like they're getting enough time and attention from the other. And then the other one, right, is I need space. I just need space from you, right? Okay. But these two, they're the same. This is the same. And you may say, well, I understand that I want to spend time with you, the needy, clingy, like always wanting to know what you're up to and phoning you all the time and right. Not giving you freedom. It doesn't seem like they're giving you freedom. But the I need space one. Well, look at the fear here, right? So there's a fear with codependency, there's a fear of real intimacy, right? There's a fear of intimacy. Just want to write this down to focus on it. So there's a fear of intimacy. Into me, I see. Into me, I see, and I allow other people's to see my authenticity, right? But both those parties have this fear of intimacy. So the one that's running away, right? They don't want to be seen by the other, right? It's too much. It's too much. And what they're seeing in the other is I need, I need, I need, I need, I need. And the one running away doesn't even want to face that they have any needs whatsoever, right? So what happens is they face the mirror of like, oh my God, I'm seeing the needy one, my needy partner. It's them. They're the problem. If they just gave me space, I'd be okay. But what you're running away from is your own intimacy. You're not being with your authentic self, right? So it's that person is bringing out these needs that are in me that are dormant, that I've repressed and stuffed down. So they're bringing that out in me. You see how both it's the same frequency? They're both like fearing real intimacy. The one I need space, I need more time with you, right? We need to spend every second together, right? So that I can feel secure. And this is an avoidance of facing your own self, right? An avoidance of facing your own self and taking care of your own needs. And then the one running away is like, I don't even want to, I'm in complete denial that I have any needs. And this person brings out, right, the shadow within me, right? Else you wouldn't be together. It wouldn't work. If one didn't have that shadow of codependency, you wouldn't even be drawn to one another, right? Just right, like attracts like. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good thing to clarify. Okay. So if you're with a codependent partner that's expressing that, right? They're either running away and they need more space, right? They come and go as they please, they can't commit, right? Or you're the one that's needy, then you've got to look at no, your partner has this too. Don't let them fool you in thinking that they don't have that dynamic, because the mirror Right? The mirror will never lie to you. Will never lie to you. Okay. 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 Let's see. Yeah, well, Hermes said because we're in this program, we're in a program. That's why you see it. Once you know the transit program, you're going to be amazed. Like once you get down with this, you see these themes playing out because this is a global codependency is a global theme, right? And the 19, in terms of collective, we have to let go of our codependency on I don't have my Titanic picture, do I? I don't think so. Yeah, of our Titanic picture, right? The Titanic is the little G and all the institutions that are coming down. We've got to let go of our codependency on that. So we're going to see more of that. That's what the uprisings are about that we're seeing in France and Texas, the United States, Canada. This is rebellion. This is like stepping away from our codependency on these institutions, right? Giving our power away to them. That's codependency. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So look at why you're running away. Mhm, mhm, mhm. And you can flip flop, right? You can be the one that's running, right? And then suddenly, especially if the one that's the needy, clingy, they stop being needy and clingy. Then the runner is like, hey, wait a minute, where's my needy, clingy? Right? Because it means I have to shift and I've got to face my stuff. It's really interesting how shadow works in terms of relationship. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go to the types. And so you want to know what your aura type is. So this is the generator in MG. They didn't put this, right? But these two combined are 70%. Most people on the planet are manifesting generators or generators. So they've got the open enveloping aura that you can see there. And then there's the projectors, and they're 20%. And they've got the focused and absorbing aura. So you can see how it goes out. You see, it's focused. What's it focusing on? That other person's G center, right? Their authentic self, right there. And then the manifestor are closed and repelling right here. And then the reflectors are resistant and sampling. So that protects them there. So that's 9%. And then 1% are reflectors. So those are the types, just so you get a visual of what your type is. Okay. So I think what I'll do is approach the 19. Um, oh, the other interesting thing too is Saturn moved in to the 37, and that's the mother and the father right there. 37.1 is mother and father. That's another transit that's happening. This whole channel is activated during this retreat. It's all pointing towards this mother wound. It's quite amazing to see, right? And then Saturn is in there for quite a while. Okay, but let's go for the generators first. So they've got the open and enveloping aura. They're here to respond with their sacral. So check it out in 2024. Just experiment with it. Have somebody that you trust asking you yes or no questions, right? Yes or no questions. MGs do this too. And that when they're operating correctly, when they're listening to their sacral and not their mind, then they feel fulfilled, they feel satisfied, right? And when they're not, they feel frustrated or angry, right? And they're tired and exhausted, but not in a good way, right? They're resentful. They can feel resentful how they spent their energy. So what I'm going to do is like the same as the last time is I've got the die here and it's got 12 sides and we'll look at the houses where this 19 is playing out for you. and approach it that way because it's practical, right? The houses are practical. And the houses are how your natal chart is the chart is divided up. And it's good that I've got a chart here, right? So you can see that would be the first house, second house, third, fourth, fifth, right? Goes all the way to 12. Okay. So let's go for the generator. Our generator friends, what do they need to know this week about codependency? So the thing to heal codependency is just to see it. Not about, oh, shaming yourself. I can't believe I'm codependent, right? It's like, no, I see this, right? I see this pattern with me and my relationships, and now I want to shift and change it. And just by seeing it, right, it starts to transmute. Okay. So what do our generator friends need to know about the 19 this week? Shadow codependency. Okay. So you've got the 5, the 5th house. The generators have the 5th house playing out in the 5th house. Well, right away, if you're a parent, you got to look at your codependent relationship with your children. Or maybe your children have maybe your children have a codependent relationship on you, which means needy, needy, needy. So the thing to remember, generators, is you want to empower, because empowerment is the difference with codependency. Codependency is not empowering to you or the other, right? So it's like somebody's hungry and you run out and you do all the fishing for them, right? Well, empowerment is I'm going to teach them how to fish so that they can take care of themselves, right? So this would be totally a 5th house thing. And so the shadow of codependency, I would look at as a generator, the generator parents out there, is need to feel needed. That's also a symptom of codependency. I need to feel needed, right? Who am I if I'm not fulfilling someone else's needs, right? So there's a payoff here with the codependency because it keeps the focus off of you and your own pain, your own inner work, right? I need to feel needed. And an identity comes with this. So maybe you're not a parent, but you're a caretaker, a caretaker of other people, right? So if you're giving, 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 taking care of everybody else except yourself, and you've created an identity about that, creating an identity is like, I'm a good person. I'm a caretaker. I take care of everybody else. And this is all ego based, right? It's ego based. So with the 5th house too, because the 5th house is about loving yourself. So maybe this week you're going to learn how codependency works, right? Well, I'm loving everybody else, right? I'm loving everybody else, but I'm not loving myself. And really you gotta look in truth, am I really loving everybody else? Right? Because again, codependency is rooted in ego. Ego always wants payback, right? Ego's always what's in it for me. What's in it for me if I give to this person? Well, this person will go running around telling people what a good person I am, inflating my ego, right? Or they'll give me something back from, right? For this giving, right? They'll give me something back in return. It's a tit for tat, right? So it's really a lack of self-love here. Um, okay. And also because it's the 5th house, and I'm on this mother wound energy, is it's children, but it could be your inner child, right? So where was I taught in my life to be codependent? Which caretaker taught me that I have to be codependent? What caretaker told me that I couldn't take care of myself? Let's flip it around the other side. That I could that I couldn't survive without another person, right? That's a deep fear of the shadow of codependency. Is I can't take care of myself. I need somebody else to survive. I need someone outside of me to survive, right? So who told me that? These are things to explore, generators. 2024 is about letting go of our conditioning. Our conditioning is keeps us in the not self, right? We live in a not self world. You want to let go of all of this stuff. It's like everything, every thought that's coming into your mind, every belief that's coming into your mind, you want to be questioning it. Where did that come from? You want to be the investigator, right? Where did that come from? Is that really mine? Or is that something I was taught? All those movies are all propaganda, right? Where did I learn that in the movies? To not think of myself as a good thing, to be codependent is a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. It's disempowering to you. So I would go to if you're a parent, go to your child, your relationship with your child. Where am I getting too attached to my child and doing too much for my child, right? Or go to your inner child, and look at the conditioning you received as a child. We learn these things. 0 to 7 years old, this is when all these patterns get laid down for us, and they're very difficult to undo if you're not conscious, right? If you're not conscious of this. But if you start using your strategy and authority, oh, my sacral's telling me no, right? To depend on this. Somebody's offering me something. Maybe it's really like a sweet deal to foster this dependency. And we can see this with the institutions. Oh, well, just give us this, right? And then we'll take care of you. And it's all about fostering dependency. That's the trap this year. Well, I'm going to go to my sacral, even though that deal looks really sweet to the ego and the mind, but my sacral is saying no. Well, your sacral is protecting you from getting trapped in a codependent relationship with someone or something, right? So that's what I say for the medicine for you, generators. And so look at your child, right? Your child external to you or your own inner child, and dig up this codependent pattern, right? It's disempowering you. It's really about becoming self-sovereign in this year, leading up to 2027. Um, Anything else for the generators in the fifth house? Could be a romantic partner too. The fifth house rules a romantic partner. Just lay it out on the table like all your relationships are up for review and evaluation right now. Okay. Anything else for the generator? Fifth house and codependency. No, that's it. Okay, that's the generators. And let's go for the MGs. So they too, the manifesting generators, have the open and enveloping aura. Their electromagnetic field is open and enveloping, and they're here to respond as well with the yes or no from their sacral, their navel region. And when they start making their decisions from the navel, their sacral energy, then they're going to start to feel fulfilled and satisfied in all parts of their life. But remember, when you start operating correctly as your unique self, then there's chaos that can come around your life because everything is readjusting. It's like there's a giant. Imagine a giant's living in your house. The giant's like 50 feet tall, but he's been sleeping there. The giant's been sleeping there for years and years and years. You start operating correctly, that giant starts to awaken, right? And the giant awakens, and right, what happens? Dishes start crashing, furniture, right, starts getting moved around. This is your life. becomes chaotic as you come back into order, back into your original self. So don't be afraid of that, right? Because you're the giant. That's the spirit, the soul taking over your life, right? Because this time is about taking the authority from the ego, our codependent relationship with the ego, right? Being married to the ego, right? And then we're becoming self-reliant and we're marrying the soul, marrying our soul. This is the most important relationship that you'll have, like ever in any lifetime, is your relationship with your own soul. Right? So, okay. So when you're operating correctly, like really listening to that sacral and trusting it, then you start to feel fulfilled or satisfied in all parts of your life. And when you're not operating correctly and you're listening to your mind, and this is codependency, the shadow of codependency. So listening to other people, making their voice more important than your voice, their opinions about how you should be living your life more important than you, your own soul. Then you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel depressed. Those are all signs for the MGs that something is off. Something needs to be corrected, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do here is pick, I'm not going to pick, I'm going to roll the die. There's 12 sides to the die, and they correlate to the 12 houses in astrology, and then we'll approach it this way. So all week long, we're in this 19, right? And there's the 19 down there. So it's a pressure. Okay. So what do our manifesting generator friends need to know for this week in the 19? What do our manifesting generator friends need to know? The 10th house. Okay. Number 10. In codependency. Well, right away, this could be your father. This could be about your father. So this could actually be your earthly father, right? Or it could be someone that is taking a father role in your life. So this could even be your partner. Doesn't matter if you're male or female because it can switch too. Like a female can play the father role in your life as well. So this could be your partner or a close friend, right? That this 19 is playing out here in this part of your life, right? So this means giving your power over to this other person because you perceive them as an authority figure. Well, that authority figure knows more about me than I do. How can that be possible? That's not possible that somebody knows you more than you. You're inside you. Nobody else is inside you, right? So it's codependency. So it's about letting go of this attachment, right? This attachment. So it also has to do with your career and your social standing in the world. So let me try this. So father figure, status quo, the government, which we're all collectively playing out that role, letting this go, our reliance on that, like a boss, right? So a boss or a landlord, somebody that you put in a position of having authority and power over you. This is what this is saying for the MGs is to let that go, let this codependent dynamic go. Because the 19 is also very survival based. This is tribal. You see at the 19, it's off the root. So this is a pressure, right, to get your needs met. So this is not just like emotional needs, right? That would be like a mother, 10th house. This is like money, right? It's money so I can buy food and I can have shelter and clothing, like my basic needs here. And so I could have a codependent relationship with, which means like there's me, right? And then there's that other person that I put on a pedestal here, right? And what I've done as codependent, right? I've made them into my God, right? I made them into my divine self in a sense, right? Because they're the one that's going to provide me with the money, with the food and the shelter, with my basic needs. This is so tribal, right? This is the 1949. This is breaking down for 2027, the 2027 mutation. So you want to take your power back. Okay, so this person, this authority figure, whoever it is in your life, maybe they're very wise. Maybe they are wise, right? Maybe they're compassionate. Maybe there's a lot of good qualities with this person in the 10th house, right? But even then, you, right? Like I said, you let their voice come in and their advice and their opinions and stuff, right? To help you. Maybe they really, really want to help you. You yourself have to say, hold up. Hold up, I'm going to listen to what you say, but ultimately I have to make my own choice. I have to make my own choice. And that means that I've got to take it deep inside and determine if this is aligned with my authentic self, right? I need to take it, MG, into my sacral. Is this a yes or no for me? And this is what I have to trust, not this person. I trust this, right? I trust my sacral. So this is like weaning ourselves off of this codependent dynamic, this shadow that has to go, right? And in the programming partners, the 33, and it's I've forgotten my power. I've forgotten my power when I'm in this codependent relationship with this person that's in the 10th house, right? Um, and I'm not shaming you. It's just like really, it's we've been conditioned, we've been brainwashed to this is how we do relationships. Like they're codependent, we call them love, we call it respect, right? And so codependency is when you sacrifice your authentic self, maybe a part of your authenticity for that other person, and you call it love, and it's not, right? It's disempowering, right? It's disempowering for you. Um, okay. And maybe, okay, here's another something else that's coming through my intuition right now. The 10th house is also your soul purpose, what you're here to do, right? You signed a contract. Before I incarnated, I signed a contract that this is my destiny. This is something that I'm going to do in this lifetime. And it's not just given to you. Your soul purpose is not just easily given to you. You have to earn it, right? So you earn it by your vibrational frequency. You earn it by your spiritual effort, right? And the soul purpose is just like the fragrance that comes off of that, right? So it's you becoming your authentic self. And then the soul purpose is like the fragrance. It's like how I express my authentic self is through my soul purpose, is my soul purpose. So you got codependency here in the 10th house, right? So this is you holding yourself back, holding back. Maybe opportunities are coming to you, but I'm holding myself back because I fear what will happen with my relationship, right? My relationship, I'll be rejected, I'll be abandoned, right? I'll be all alone. So I'm not going to go forward. There's that fear. And like I said before, the North Node is in the 51. This is like awakening. This is about awakening. This is portal time. Portals. This is Pluto and Aquarius. So these portals are going to start to appear for you. And the portals are come out of the blue. We're out of Pluto Capricorn. I do this linear, and then my opportunity is there. No, this is Uranus. Uranus is like the portals here. Well, I don't know where it came from. I have no cause and effect. What did I do to create this portal appearing? It just appears. And so if you're hesitating, like I can't do that because what about my relationship? Right? He or she won't be with me. won't be with me. Your job is to listen to the yes or no, and your sacral saying, yes, go through the portal now, do it. And you've got to trust that your partner will be there doing their own inner work, right? Not get into this codependent relationship, holding yourself back, you know? And then I always tell people, it's like, will that person be with you when you're on your deathbed, taking your last breath? Can they go with you into the unknown, the next leg of the journey? No, they can't. Only you can go on that journey alone, right? Alone. So it's about getting good with your own authority now, right? Your own soul now. That's your primary relationship is you and your own soul. And then the human relationships come after that, right? That's when you're your unique self and you're empowered. So look at that, MGs. Are you holding yourself back from another person? And be truthful, right? Be truthful. Pluto and Aquarius is get your pen and paper out and start journaling about it. And maybe you'll be surprised. Oh my God, I am. I've made a choice because I fear that this person won't be with me, or it won't be on the journey with me. But if they're destined to be on the journey with you, they'll be with you, right? That's how it works. But you need to be okay on your own. That's what this energy is saying. Um, okay. So what I'm getting is trust yourself. It's time to really start trusting your soul. And your sacral is a tool, a raft to get you to that place. You know, you can count on it. Yeah. Glad it mates, right? Healing is messy, right? When we start healing and that sleeping giant starts awakening, life gets messy. You get messy. You have to allow for that, for the recorrection, like chaos will happen. You can't try to control, right? The external. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the MGs? Anything else for the MGs in the 19? Yeah, it's just fear of being alone. But it's the truth. We are alone. Even when we're surrounded by, you could be surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of people and you're still alone, right? You're still alone. But you're not really alone because you're with the divine. Mm. Okay. So let's go for the manifestors, right? So they're 9%, the M's. And they've got the repelling aura. They're here to inform and share, and then to initiate. And when they're operating correctly, they're at peace. They're at peace. And when they're not, they're angry because everything seems to be blocking them. Even people seem to be blocking them. Well, if you're angry about that, why doesn't that person just get out of the way? Why are they creating all this drama and right in my life? It's like, well, okay, I need to like look at myself. How am I creating this? Oh, I'm not operating correctly, right? So let's do the die. I'm going to roll the die, and this 12 sides, and it correlates to the 12 houses in astrology, and then we'll approach it in that way with the 19 this week. Okay. So what do we have for the manifestors? What do our manifestor friends need to know this week? What do our manifestor friends need to know this week? 8, more another relationship house. Okay. So the manifestors got the 8th house. Okay. And we're talking about the 19 right down here. Manifestors coming off the root. It's the gate of approach, but I'm approaching it from the shadow. And it's codependency, the shadow of codependency in the 8th house. So the 8th house is your marriage partner if you're married. It's someone that you share resources with, possibly, to look at this codependency if you have a codependent relationship in that way. Um, it's about the eighth house is other people's money, how other people value you or don't value you here. And it also, it's a very deep, deep house, right? It's transformation. Okay. So to me, it's really about facing your fear, facing your deep, deep fears. And so the eighth house, it's not your conscious fears, like something that you've always known since you were a child. Well, I have a fear of public speaking, right? Or I have a fear of heights. It's just always been there. Well, the eighth house is something that's buried. It's buried. Like you'll be surprised. I didn't know I had that fear. I had no idea that I had that fear. Well, this one with the 19 is fear of being alone. Fear of being alone, right? Fear of abandonment. Fear of abandonment. So this can make you act and behave and think that affects your thinking too. So it's all about preventing this fear, right? But the eighth house is like, no, it's time to face it now with the 19 in that position. And so it's metamorphosis. This is like a Scorpio house, right? Metamorphosis. This is change. This is mutation, like huge, huge change. So the way to work with this manifestors is look out in the mirror. Look in the mirror doing the shadow work. It's like, I have no idea what my fear is, right? Well, look out in the mirror and see the patterns. See the patterns. Okay, I'm seeing people. Maybe I'm seeing people that are really codependent. I'm seeing that codependency. They're needy and they're clingy, right? They need to have somebody around them all the time. Or like whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. Complaining that their partner isn't spending enough time with them or they're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. Whatever it is, right? You're seeing, but basically you're seeing this shadow frequency of codependency. It's like, okay, I see it. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means it's in me if I'm noticing it, right? Because you could manifestors, you could be with another person and you can really notice something and they don't notice it. Or they notice it and you don't. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't see that at all because it wasn't for them, right? But it may be for you. So it's giving you information. The universe is very generous in giving you information about what you need to look at, especially with eighth house. So you just let it in. You get out your journal, Pluto and Aquarius, get out your journal. And it's like, okay, this is what I noticed and what feelings are coming up for me. Why was I uncomfortable? That's a shadow work that brings up a lot of discomfort. What was I feeling? And then you explore it, right? You start to write about it, write and really like dig deep with the eighth house. And then you'll be amazed at what comes up. It's like, yeah, I have that fear of abandonment. Maybe the memory comes up. There's a memory that comes up from childhood, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I remember no, my mother didn't show up for school one day, or I got lost in the mall and I couldn't find my mother. Something happened where I was separated from my mother. And then this energy will start to move from the eighth house. And that's the metamorphosis when you feel it, right? So, yeah. What else did I want to say about the manifestors in this too? Is to not, because the manifestor type, right? Because they've got the closed, they've got the closed and repelling aura. So they can seem to others, right? Like the other types, like generator, MGs, even projectors, they can kind of entwine with one another. Do you know what I mean? Like like we communicate with our mouths, but we also communicate oracally. So there's a communication that's happening with the MGs and the Gs and even the projectors, but the manifestors don't have that, right? They don't have that. Their aura is closed and repelling. So there can be this sense of aloneness and loneliness, right? And loneliness with manifestors, like because they know deep down like there's not that auric communication. I'm seeing it out there, but I don't have it as a manifester. I can feel quite alone in my own aura, right? So there can be this assumption that, oh, manifestors don't need anything. They're so, right? They're so empowered and they're independent and they do their own thing. They don't seem to have any needs in a sense like we have as MGs and Gs and projectors, right? It's different for manifestors. But if you start sharing, this is why sharing is so important for you in informing. It's just like explore that. I'm having fears come up. This is challenging for the manifestors to be vulnerable in this way, right? I'm having these codependent dynamics come up. I'm really fearful of what will happen to you if you die or you, right? Like start to be honest with your with what's going on with you. And this will because you've got to use your communication in a different way. You're not going to be able to communicate oracally, right? Your partner, if they're an MG or G or a projector, they're not going to oracally know that there's something up with you, that you're going through this. You need to communicate it honestly. And this will help you with your relationships, right? Just to be honest. Oh, these codependent things are frequencies are coming up for me, things that I've forgotten about. And this will help you to be able to relate, right? Relate to others. And this is like from an empowered place. It's not like I need you to know these things. And it's not coming from codependency. It's more of an empowered. I'm sharing what's going on with me. I'm being seen. Manifestors have to work on that. It's like I have to make the effort to be seen by the other. Um, and then that will bring peace, right? So if you're feeling angry, maybe you're angry at the mirror. Oh, the mirror is showing me this codependency, and like just like it's frustrated. I'm well, not frustrated, but I'm angry because I'm a manifester and I just want to run away and escape. I don't want to see it. Well, it's the mirror showing you something that you need to integrate, right? The eighth house is all about integration, but deep, deep, like uncomfortable feelings, right? Anything else for the manifestors in the 19? Also, just because it's the 33 there, the fear of being forgotten. That's a deep fear too in the eighth house, that I'll be forgotten. I'll live this life and no one will remember me, right? I'll just be completely forgotten and visible too. Just explore it, go deep. Okay. So let's go for the projectors here. And so that's, like I said, 20% of the world, 20% are projectors. So they've got the focused and absorbing aura. They're here to be recognized for their gifts and talents, what they're good at, and then they're invited. And they're invited to guide, right? To guide and to help the other types. I'm a projector, in case you don't know. So we're really about understanding the other types, and we're here to help, right? So the most sacred relationship really is between the projector and the MG and the Gs, this relationship. So if you're an MG or a G, take an inventory of your friends. There's going to be a projector in there because we're drawn to each other like moths to light, right? So when they're operating correctly, they feel successful. That word successful. They're recognized, they got the hit, they got the invitation, they got more of a hit. They just light up inside And then it's showtime, right? Here I am. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you. And when they're not operating correctly, when they're trying to butt in and give uninvited advice, unsolicited advice, they get bitter, right? They get bitter. Okay. So let's go with the 19. I think I have a sense which one is going to come up. So we're going to roll the die. I'm going to roll the die. And then it correlates to the 12 sides, so the 12 houses in astrology. And then we'll look at where to approach this 19, the shadow of codependency. Okay. So what do our projector friends need to know? What do our projector friends need to know? Okay. Okay, so it's the sixth house. Number 6, right here. Okay. So the sixth house. Well, that's our health, right? That's our health. It's a Virgo house, right? Typically, that's the traditional ruler of the sixth house is Virgo. It's our routines and it's our work. And it's also our house of problems, right? And conflicts. Okay. And schedules. And it's the way we serve. It's our service. So that would be our higher purpose, is always service. This isn't about necessarily about, oh, I don't receive any money and I just serve, like karma yoga. Service is like our higher purpose. So it may come or may not come with a monetary exchange, but we live in the West, so it's going to come with monetary exchange. No longer the days of the begging bowl, right? Just completely reliant on other people's kindness to eat. Okay, so let's look at codependency here. Okay, with our health routines, so codependent in our work and our problems. Well, right away, maybe it's a problem for the projectors. The great thing about the sixth house is that it can be resolved, right? That it can be resolved with this 19. So codependent in your work, right? So this is colleagues, right? The sixth house is your colleagues. Yeah. Maybe they're being a bit codependent on you, a bit needy, right? So in terms of invitation, I talked about this before. Projectors need to know this because sometimes they can get so desperate for that invitation, like because they're ready, right? I want to help people. It's 2027's coming up. We're the new leaders, right? The new leaders. I'm ready. I'm ready to lead and help and guide. That they'll receive low quality, right? A low quality invitation. So the invitation's got to be high quality. So let's say somebody knows about human design, right? They have the knowledge of human design, but they're not empowered, they're not embodied, right? They're not embodied, means they're not following their strategy and authority, but they've got the language. So you got to watch out for this because a low quality invitation would be like that person saying, I'm inviting you out to lunch today. I want to catch up. I want to see what you're up to, right? What you're up to, and I'll let you know what I'm up to, right? So you got this. Well, how do you know it's not a high quality invitation? Well, you get there, right? And this maybe it's a friend. They're totally in their victim story. You're trying to guide them, right? You're trying to guide them. Maybe you're repeating yourself. Well, I've said this to this friend over and over and over again, but they're not receiving, right? They're not receiving my advice. They're coming back with me with the same story, like over and over and over again. Maybe I've got to, uh, you know, increase my voice. Maybe I got to get louder. I'm not feeling heard. These are all signs it's a low quality invitation. And right now, following my advice, not letting me speak. They just want this victim story out and their victim story and blaming and complaining. That's victim, right? Victim consciousness. And then you leave and you feel bitter. And then you're thinking, but they invited me. They invited, maybe out of came their mouth. It's like, I really want your advice. Maybe they actually said that because they got the language, right? But what you have to do as a projector is you got to listen to frequency. Remember, projectors, your energy is so valuable, and what you see in your pattern recognition is so valuable. You don't want to be wasting it on people that are not for you. So, do you see how you can get tricked? Right? That this person seems to be really really into it, but they're not, right? Because you've got to listen to their frequency, not their words. Don't be listening to someone's words, especially if they've got the language down of human design. Because you can say one thing, right? People can lie, right? And lie and lie and lie with their words, but their aura will never lie. Their aura can't lie. Their energy can't lie. They can't make that lie, but their words can lie, right? So you want to listen to that. So that would be a low quality invitation. And low quality invitations are, I just want your attention. Because look at the aura type here is the projector. You got the focused and absorbing aura. Look at that. It's coming out like a laser beam. And where's it going? Say you're with an MG or generator. It's going right to their authentic self, right? So that you can see other people, right? You can see other people, other types, they feel seen by you. That's a rare thing that other people are really truly seen by another, but they feel seen by the projector, right? Well, right here, this dynamic, codependent dynamic is attention. I feel good when I'm with my projector friend. I'm going to invite them for lunch. Right. I'm going to have their full attention and I'm just going to be in my victim story and feel really good about it. And then I'll just leave. Right. That's a low quality invitation. Okay. So high quality is I'm with my friend, my MG friend or my generator friend. They invited me out. Really like I'm going through a lot in my life right now. And I would really love your guidance with this. What do you see? Where do you see traps, my blind spots, right? And they're not in their victim. They're not in their victim. If they're in any kind of victim consciousness, they're just sharing like this, these are the dynamics, but I really want to get out of them. The other one, low quality, they just want to be in it. They don't want to change. They just want to be in it. Right. But this one is like, I really want to get out of this. I'm ready. I'm so tired of this pattern that I've been in for years. Right. Can you help me? And then, of course, they open up their aura to you. You're listening to their frequency. Right. I'm listening to their frequency. Their open and enveloping aura is like, take me. Right. They're so surrendered. This is very masculine. Right. Projectors are very masculine in their aura. And this is the feminine. Right. So like take me, right? Help me, guide me. And then the projector penetrates and then helps, right? Here's what I see. Here's what I see, right? And then the generator takes it in, right? To their sacral. Yes, yes. And then they go off and then they're growing and evolving, right? And the projector leaves and they feel successful because it's an equal exchange. If this one's bitter, it's not an equal exchange, right? Something is off. So that's a little, the codependency can come in. Let's go back to the projector. So the codependency can come into like, it's time to look at your relationships, right? Am I attracting codependent people? codependent people that are stuck. They want to be stuck in this position, stuck into their victim, right? They don't want to move. Or do they feel empowered? Are they empowered? So that's what I want to say is listen to frequency, not the words. Yeah. Because this can drain you. This codependency is draining you. And then you got to flip the tables too and look at where you're codependent in relationship. Um, and the other thing to note too, because it's the sixth house, it's habits. So maybe you're in this codependent habit with other people, or they're in this codependent habit with you. It's just, oh, that's just how I relate to people. Well, you got to stop relating to people from this shadow pattern. And what else is saying it's going to affect your health, right? So when all types, when you're not operating correctly, it's going to come to the physical, right? Because something's got to pay, right? And the cells of your body will pay. Cells of body will pay, right? And that's going to affect your health, your physical health. So to look at that, like, oh, my back, I'm having back problems. I'm not feeling supported, right? I'm not feeling supported by others. It's not, I got a pain in my neck. Who's the pain in my neck in my life? Right. I've got a hearing problem. What am I not listening to? Right. There's Louise Hay has a whole book on this. So keep that in mind. And anything else with the 19? Well, and sacrifice is coming up too. So lower frequency sacrifice. So to watch that, am I sacrificing myself for another so that I can be needed, right? To feel like I'm needed, that I've got some kind of purpose here on planet Earth. Um, to watch that. Just like re-listen projectors to the right to the beginning of the video, and something will come up. Get your journal out, Ludon Aquarius, and start writing about it. Okay. Anything else for the codependency in the sixth house? Well, to look at your work, I would say your job. Am I relying too much on my job? That's not recognizing me. I don't feel recognized. I don't feel invited in this job I'm taking. I'm sacrificing my authentic self for a paycheck, right? I have to let go of this codependency. It's time to step out on my own, right? And as soon as it's like, as soon as you say that to yourself, like commit to yourself, like I'm a projector and I have a role here on planet Earth, right? I'm here to guide and lead the other types. And it's time for me to get rid of this codependent relationship I have with the job and really start to move forward. As soon as you just put that out in energy, your energy will shift. And then, of course, your aura shifts, and then you'll invite, right? You'll invite something that's correct for you. But it really takes you to say, like, I've had enough. This is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not sacrificing my authenticity for a paycheck for survival. You know, because the 19 is that too, right? It's like food and the needs, the basic needs in exchange, right? This is a different time we're in. This is getting mutated out, this 1949. It's very tribal. Okay. But if you're exhausted, coming home and you're exhausted and you're bitter and you're having health problems, that's a big sign that you're in the wrong work. You're in the wrong work. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the reflector. So I always like to hear from the reflectors because they're only 1%. And for the reflectors, they've got the sampling and resistant aura to protect them. They follow the cycles of the moon. And when they're operating correctly, they're surprised. And when they're not, they're disappointed. They're sad, right? By other people. They're disappointed in themselves, in their experience, their human experience. right? So for you, reflectors, it's all about being in the right environment. Environment. You got to be in the right environment as a reflector. Environment is key for you. Am I in the right environment? Am I surprised by the right environment? Do people get a kick out of me that I'm so different? Every day I'm different because it's according to the moon. You're like a chameleon, you're different. You're the one that's most impacted by the program. You're an embodiment of the program. Okay, but not in an NPC way, right? If you're an awakened reflector, it's you know that you're the program. NPCs have no idea. They're just like puppets, right? They're just expressing the program. You actually have an awareness that it's like, oh, I'm expressing the program right now. And you're able to let other people know, the other types know that, oh, you're just in this, right? You're just in this codependent dynamic right now. I can see it. You're even saying the words, maybe the keynotes of the 19. Okay, reflectors, I'm going to roll a die, and it's got 12 sides. And then this correlates to the 12 houses in astrology. And we'll finish it off with a reflector. It's always interesting what the reflector gets because they're kind of the wrap up in many ways, the energetic wrap up of today's video. Okay. So what do our reflector friends need to know? What do our reflector friends need to know? Oh, they got the 6 as well. That's right. So they got the 6, just like the projectors, the 6th house. So codependency dynamic in terms of work. Okay. So let's bring the reflector flavor here. It's what's your environment? What's your work environment? This is work environment, the 6th house. Right? How do you feel? Are you disappointed in your work? Maybe you've outgrown it, right? Maybe you're outgrowing it for 2024. Yeah. Um, okay. It's also conflict, right? So are you experiencing conflict in the workplace? And is it affecting your health? Oh, that's the thing right there. So reflectors are really interesting, right? Because they reflect the environment. Okay. So if your health, whatever environment you are, this is beyond like just your work environment. This is like the people that you maybe see every day. It could be your home, especially if you work from home, your home office, people that you work with, people that are in your field, right? Well, what about your health? That's the 6th house, right? Well, how's my health? Is my health going downhill? Do I have this chronic health problem? And look at the patterns. This is on me, pattern recognition here as a projector. So look at the patterns. Wow, I've had this issue with my body, right? I've had this issue with my body. It's been a chronic health thing. Maybe I've had this rash. I don't know. I just had this rash. I think it's eczema. I've gone to the doctor and they've given me cortisol and all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't go away, right? We'll go to the pattern. Okay, when did this rash occur on my body? When did it occur? It was 2000 and I think 2014. I've had it since then. I've had it a long time. Just won't go away. Well, you go back to your environment. What was my environment in 2014? Well, I moved to this new condo, or I moved to this new city, or I moved to this new job, this career. I've been in there since 2014, and the rash occurred at the same time as this job or some kind of relationship or whatever it is, right? Well, that's going to be a major key. So look at your environment, right? Look at your environment. Whatever problem, because the sixth house is problems. Whatever problem happened, like when did it start? And then bring it back to environment. What changes did I make in my environment? Well, it's going to show you that you're in the wrong environment. You leave that environment, and then the problems go away, right? So it's helping keep you safe as a reflector, right? Because you want to be surprised. You want people to appreciate you and love you for being you, right? If you're in the wrong environment, you're like a fish, right? That's in a toxic environment as a reflector, right? You don't try to treat the fish, right? I'm going to give the fish all these antibiotics and I'm going to give cortisol to the fish and then throw it back into the dirty water. It's not going to, the fish isn't going to get healthy. The fish gets healthy when you go and clean the tank or put it in like a bigger aquarium or something. That fish is going to love it. That's like you as a reflector, right? So that's what I would say is look to your environment and then dig up this codependency. Am I codependent on this environment? Am I afraid to leave this environment because my codependent shadow is saying I need it and I'm not going to survive and I don't want to be alone if I leave? You want to dig that out, right? And trust and have faith. This is about jumping in, North Node 51. It's about jumping into the unknown, right? With Pluto and Aquarius now. It's all about the unknown, unexpected. I'm going to go through that portal, right? And portals will start to appear because all these planets are going direct or are direct until the spring, right? So this is go time to make the big decisions because life's too short to be in the wrong environment as a reflector. Um, yeah. Okay. And so go back and listen to the beginning, especially as a reflector and projector should listen to this whole video actually, right? And more stuff will come up for you. Okay. So that's what I got for the types. And again, reminder, healing the mother wound. If you really want to shift and change this year, this is the ticket in. This is transmuting this mother wound. And so go check it out. I'm going to be adding more things to the copy on my website. The link is below. It's very intense. It's an intense experience, but change, irrevocable change. That's the mutation, right? So February 23rd, 24th, 25th, the energies are completely supporting us to do this work, which I'm really, really excited about. Okay, so have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, Sat Nam Aloha, everybody. Take care.